We hear the word all the time macros. We should be tracking our macros, but a lot of people still are puzzled. They are confused about it. So here I am with the objective of really unveil the mystery to you and hopefully break this down to you so you understand. So, what are macros? We hear the word all the time that we hear that we should be tracking our macros. Macro is just a short word for macronutrients, and it is the first primary components in the foods that we eat. For example, our proteins, our carbs, and our fats. And why is it important that we need to balance these macros? The importance of balancing these macros is because we need to have a good ratio so our body can function at its best, as each macronutrient has its function in our body. For example, the carbs provide energy, proteins, they help to build muscle. They are the only macronutrients that build muscle and also repair muscle. And fats, they support our hormones and also help us to stay satiated. And you might be asking, but why is it important that we track them? Well, there is one trick to it. In each gram of protein, there are 4 calories. In each gram of carbs, there are 4 calories, the same amount as protein. And in each gram of fats, there are 9 calories. And there's also a kicker: alcohol is a macronutrient. However, it does not have a function like the other macronutrients that I just explained. It's just a toxin and something that people like to have for fun. And obviously, let's give some examples of what are some of the carbohydrates. The most common ones: bread, pasta, rice, cereal, fruits, vegetables, oats, all our wheat sources, sugar. Then we have our protein, right? Our meats such as chicken, beef, turkey bacon, fish, egg whites, and then also our protein shakes, casein, whey protein. And for fats, we have olive oil, avocado, our nuts, egg yolks, for example. And then you also have the food components that have a trace of both, such as beans, quinoa. They have a little bit of trace of carbs and protein. Same thing here with this column over here that you see: whole eggs, cheese, salmon. They have a little trace of protein and fats. So, why is it important that we track our macros? And what is the difference between just tracking your macros and counting calories? The difference is, just like I explained previously, each macronutrient has its function in our body. And there's a big difference when you just track calories than when you track macros. And you will see here that majority of the time when you start tracking your macros, you will realize that you can eat more food as opposed if you are just tracking calories. It is also important for the fact that we need to know that we are getting enough of those macronutrients so our body can build muscle, our body can have enough energy, as opposed if I just decide to have a 1200 calorie diet and I don't even know if I'm getting enough protein, and therefore I might be hungrier, as opposed if I have a diet that is low in calories but high in macronutrients, meaning that I know that I'm getting enough proteins, carbs, and fats. I might be more satiated, probably be more satiated if I was just counting calories. Now you may ask, how do we track our macros? So I'm going to give you some tips. One of the best things that I would say is to plan ahead. Have an idea of how you are going to be eating the next day. And also, something that we need to keep in mind is to measure our food. So, how we are going to do this? You can do this by 2 ways. You can either use measuring cups, or, in my opinion, the best way to actually have an exact way to measure is by using a scale. It's the best way, there's less margins for errors. And also, people like to log in their macros by using apps. There are apps that are super user friendly, but I would say keep it simple. Just don't make it too complicated. This way, you will find that it's easy for you to stick to and stay consistent. If you just track your macros one day and then the next day you have no idea the amount of food that you ate, chances are that you're not going to really get the results that you are looking for. Now, you may ask, what macros are best? I would say stick to the macronutrients that come from whole foods. Such foods are as animal protein, carbohydrates such as fruits, vegetables, or your real starch vegetables, fats that really come from real oils, avocado, and sources of foods like that. Here are some examples of protein. So lean protein, it's best, and I would say stick to chicken breast, Greek yogurt, ground beef, ground sirloin, lean sirloin, it's great. Fish, all the white fishes are good. Salmon, it's one of my favorites. Shrimp, cottage cheese, ground turkey, tuna, egg whites. It's a great source of lean protein. Just some examples for you to have here. And how about when it comes to carbohydrates? I would say whole grains such as rice, oats, quinoa, barley, bulgur, buckwheat, but also a really good source of carbohydrates are our starchy vegetables. They are great because they are super rich in fiber. Your body is going to digest them really, really well. And it's just a way for you to really get the best bang for your buck. Another source of carbohydrates are your non starchy vegetables, but they are super light in calories, so you can actually have a lot of them. And to be honest with you, sometimes I don't really even track a lot of my vegetables, especially if they are cucumber, asparagus, green beans. They're so light in calories that you can have a good amount of them and be really satiated. They're a great source of fiber, and again, super low in calories. Another source of carbohydrates are your fruits. And they are great because if you look at them, they're super low in calories and you can have a whole bunch and not overdo it in your calories. They are super rich in fiber, such as these fruits right here, amazing for you. And they can help you with constipation, again, keep you satiated. People sometimes don't even realize how much of these foods they can actually eat as compared to something that comes in a little package. So that's the beauty when you count your macros and you realize that you can eat real food, right? Whole foods as compared to just looking at the package and just looking at the calories. Now let's take a look at some of the fat sources. We have eggs, that is a source of proteins and fats as well because of the yolks. Avocados is a great source. Your nut butter, sardines, olive oil, coconut oil. Your nuts are also source of fats as well. So when it comes to your choice of macros, the choices are a lot of choices. You have a whole bunch, but I would definitely suggest you can still enjoy these foods with moderation. The difference between having these type of foods compared to the type of foods that I just showed previously, it's because these foods are definitely high processed. It's really hard for us to really get all the elements that we need in here. Majority of these are super high in carbs and fats and really low in protein. And that's where the problems sometimes arise. So I like to suggest to my clients that we take the 80-20% approach. And what does that mean? Is that 80% of your foods are going to come from natural whole foods, as natural as you can get, such as real source of protein that comes from animal protein or your real sources of carbohydrates that comes from your fruits and vegetables and your grains. And also you can sprinkle your convenient foods such as breads, right? Your rice cakes, your nut butters, your everything that's still really good, but they are still whole foods. And then you add your sprinkle on top, which is the treat foods that I just showed you before on the previous slide. And also, alcohol is one of them that I like to add in there. Your chocolate and things that are high palatable. So, this way, you have a good balance between your whole foods, but also the foods that are more yummy that everyone likes to enjoy once in a while. The difference really going to come to food choices, and in my opinion you get more for your buck, more money for your buck, let's put it this way, in a calorie bank if you choose foods that are less processed, minimal processed. You can eat a whole potato as compared to a bowl of tater tots, because a whole potato, if you look in here, there's 100 for 150 grams of the baked potato, there's only 140 calories, 31 grams of carbs, and 5.5, I'm sorry, 3.5 grams of fiber, zero fat, and 3.8 grams of protein. As compared to 150 grams of potato tots, it's 265 calories, 45 grams of carbs, 3 grams of fiber, 7 grams of fat, and 3.5 grams of protein. So it's really, you're not going to be able to eat the same amount as if you were just to eat the whole food as opposed to being highly processed. So you can have a little bit of both in moderation, but yeah, I think it's going to come down to you going to have the ability to eat the food more if it's in a whole form as opposed to something that is processed, because it's going to be less calorie dense and it's going to be more nutrient dense if you eat the food that's whole food. And in my opinion, when you are dieting, let's put it this way, it's better to have a higher amount, a higher volume of food as opposed to have a lower volume of food and having more calories. Here's just a really good example to show you how much food you can eat. For example, here for 400 calories, you can have a whole bunch of vegetables and really fill your stomach. So this way you're satiated as opposed for 400 calories to just have a little bit of olive oil, for example, you are not really going to be full for that amount of time, right? So a moderation is a good moderation, have a little bit of moderation in everything, but having more of high volume food is definitely the best thing for your buck. A good example I like to give is to eat a big salad with your meal. For example, what are some of like the best benefits of eating a big salad, but not just alone with your meal? It's high volume, but low in calories. It's nutrient rich for your body. It's great to maintain your weight because you're going to be satiated with that amount of food, and it's good for your digestive system as well. So having better choices of things, I'm not just saying that you can have just a salad. I'm just giving you an example of food choices when you can compare to the amount of things that you can eat if you're just eating something for the taste. Let's put it this way. If you are trying to lose weight or maintain your weight, making good choices is definitely going to get to a better spot. And I also like to always show the amount of calories that there are in alcohol. And there's the ones that are lower in calories, the ones that are high in calorie. If you want to stick to something that's more on a lower end of calories, I would say stick with vodka, gin, and pair that up with a 0 calorie soda or soda water, things like that, or whiskey. The white wine is also fairly low in calories, red wine as well. I have this here for you. You can take a look at it. But when it comes to higher calories, I would say anything that's a mixed drink, right? Anything that's super sweet, margaritas, martinis, they will start to climb up on a higher end of calories. The sweeter the drink, the more thick the drink, such as mudslide, things like that, they're definitely going to be on a higher end of calories. So, keeping things simple, but also incorporating foods that you enjoy, it's super important for you to achieve your results. You can still have a little bit of this, 100%. I don't want you to feel restricted, but choosing foods to really nourish your body. This way, you can have a lot of food and still have the fun things in moderation. At the end of the day, you have to be able to stick to a diet that you enjoy so you can have the best results for your life. In the beginning, things might seem a little bit rocky. And if you are somebody that needs help, I'll be more than happy to show you the way that you can definitely stick to this. I have developed my own app. I also have a way that I teach my clients so they can learn to track their macros without really having to worry about logging in everything in their app. If it's something that you are interested, let's schedule a call so I can show you an easy way that you can learn how to track your macros and never worry about this again. You will learn that you can create amazing recipes. You can have delicious food. You have the freedom to go out to eat and know exactly what it is that you are putting in your mouth. It's super important for you to know the foods that you are eating. This way, you don't feel like you're going in circles and you understand that nourishing your body is number one as opposed to just counting calories.